Have you ever noticed the more time you spend with people, the emptier you feel soon afterward? They told you solitude is a disease. Schopenhauer considered it a sign of intelligence. Listen for a moment, the energy of conversations that say nothing, the laughter that covers exhaustion. Why does silence feel better than company? Perhaps it is not that you have lost everything. Perhaps you eventually stopped wanting its noise. If presence is so important, why does it cost you peace? Schopenhauer said, the more a man has in himself, the less he will require from the outside world. And that's why staying home is not a retreat but a comeback. Modern life gives you noise as evidence of worth. They have you talking, sharing, and performing, because a silent mind cannot be managed. When you cut off company, you begin to find clarity. Staying home is the way the spirit restores itself. Every thinker who ever touched reality first walked away from the crowd. A man can be himself just so long as he is alone, because in isolation, you fully understand the reason why staying home is the best thing you can do. And yet, many individuals resist the solitude that restores. Let us begin with the most brutal reality: you are tired, and you don't know why. You stepped out. You interacted. You smiled at those right moments, laughed at comments that were not funny, and nodded through conversations that meant absolutely nothing. And now you're back at home empty and more alone than when you left. What transpired? You found yourself surrounded by people, but you felt unseen. You spoke words, yet said nothing meaningful. You were present, yet totally distant from yourself. This is the painful reality that nobody tells you. Every human interaction is drama. It's noise claiming to be music, movement claiming to be important. Studies have revealed that happiness connects more with having meaningful conversations than with having small conversations. But what fills many social events? Superficial exchanges, rehearsed pleasantries, and the same meaningless scripts repeated on multiple occasions. Schopenhauer understood this: the more stupid a man is, the less enigmatic existence seems to him. Many individuals surround their lives with noise since silence scares them. The enigmas of life, the questions that truly count, they run from these. They drown them in conversation, in distraction, in the illusion that being loud means being alive. But you know better. You noticed it, that empty ache after leaving an event, the realization that you just spent almost 3 hours putting on a mask, and that you left more disconnected than when you got there. The city buzzes, the screens sparkle, and everybody calls it a connection. But silence, that's where truth begins. Arthur Schopenhauer once said, every man takes the limits of his own realm of vision for the limits of the outside world. Someone who has never sat alone with their mind believes the noise is all there is. They confuse the surface for the depths. They mistake the theater for the truth. And they stay trapped in shallow waters, calling it the sea. When was the last time you had a discussion that changed you, the kind that lingers, that changes something inside you? You have many contacts on your phone, lots of people you could be messaging right now, and social media posts filled with faces, yet you feel fundamentally, completely alone. How is this possible? Carl Jung understood that loneliness does not come from having no people about one but from being unable to connect with the things that seem essential to oneself. You are not alone because you lack people. You are alone because you lack depth. Think about the previous interaction. Did you say what you really thought? Did you talk about what you truly felt? Or did you give the most acceptable version of yourself? Many individuals mistake company for comfort. They think closeness equals connection. But connection is not about people in a room, it's about souls connecting. And it almost never happens. Research indicates that people with high IQ scores are 2.5 times more likely to seek isolation than their counterparts. This is not dysfunction, it's realization. Schopenhauer said, a high degree of intellect is likely to make a man introverted. Not because intelligent individuals dislike others, but because they desire authenticity, and it is rare. They have tasted true connection, and they cannot settle for imitation anymore. You have encountered this, sitting in an overcrowded room, feeling totally invisible, having a meal with friends while analyzing every word, leaving interactions feeling that something had been taken from you, energy, authenticity, parts of your real self, and nothing was offered in exchange. Arthur Schopenhauer said, "We sacrifice 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other individuals." You surrender 75% of who you are just to fit in, just to be accepted, just to avoid making other people uncomfortable with your reality. The man who learns to love his own company ends this transaction. He can be complete, contradictory, complicated, and real. This is real comfort, not the hollow approval of being admired, but the deep fulfillment of being yourself. And yet, the instant you learn to value your own company, the loneliness disappears. That is when isolation stops being loneliness and becomes a haven. In that silence, the cost of the company becomes apparent. You begin noticing what social life expects of you, discreetly and consistently. Each conversation is a transaction. Others leave you rich. Many leave you broke. Every social interaction costs you, and most individuals never calculate the price. You smile when you are tired. You listen when your mind is away. You show interest in issues that irritate you. You nod along to viewpoints you question. This is the invisible labor of social life, the continuous performance of pleasantness. A study shows that even connection carries a cost, that to maintain the comfort of others, both the mind and body need to spend from their limited reserves. You are not imagining the tiredness. You are paying for every encounter with your energy constraints. Schopenhauer understood this burden. To be isolated is the fate of all great thinkers, a fate deplored in certain instances, but still always regarded as the less grievous of two evils. He understood the equation. Isolation has a lot of challenges, but the alternative, the endless depletion of maintaining appearances, is terrible. Think about the last function you attended. How many real moments did you encounter? How much mental energy did you spend analyzing responses, observing how you were perceived, and modifying your presentation? Now imagine that same energy focused somewhere else, towards thinking, building, and actually living rather than performing. Schopenhauer said, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. And if he does not enjoy isolation, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is truly free." In a social context, you are never completely free. You are always under observation. Even with close friends, there is discreet monitoring, calculating, and self-reflection. But in isolation, the monitoring ends. You can consider thoughts that would be inappropriate to voice. You can feel emotions without explaining them. You can simply be. Staying home is not laziness. It's self-preservation. It is understanding that your time, energy, and sincerity are too valuable to waste on interactions that leave you emptier than when you arrived. And once you understand that, you start to see something else. The illusion extends beyond people. It influences the whole environment around you. Look around at what grabs people's attention: the car they drive, the image they present, the followers they count, and the status they chase. This is what Schopenhauer called the world of the will, endless, insatiable desire for external approval that can never, will never, give enduring fulfillment. Why do we keep seeking something that has never satisfied anyone before? Because outside factors are unstable. Status can be lost. Possessions can be taken away. Comparison is a contest with no winners. There's always somebody with more. The world outside nourishes the ego, not the soul. The ego requires continual reassurance, confirmation that you matter, and proof that you are winning. But the soul demands something different: silence, reflection, and reality. Brilliant minds throughout history, Albert Einstein, Newton, and Maxwell, worked mainly alone. They did not need approval from others. They found something more precious: the independence of their spirit. Schopenhauer said that happiness based on outside factors leads to inevitable pain. Inside your house, away from criticism and comparison, you may create an inner existence. This is not escapism. It's confidence, the courage to face yourself without interruption. Schopenhauer once said, "Great men are like eagles and build their nest on some lofty isolation." The eagle does not flock. It soars alone, viewing from heights that ground-based creatures cannot understand. But how many are willing to ascend that height, knowing it means leaving the crowd behind? What happens when you withdraw from other people's demands? At first, tension. The ego protests its lack of fuel. But continue, and gently, a reality starts to reveal itself. You uncover what you truly believe when stripped of social norms. You understand most of what you desired was what you were told to desire. Most of what caught your attention was not exciting, just distracting. The man who stays home and manages his inner life becomes less vulnerable to empty promises. He finds happiness not in having more, but in becoming more. Schopenhauer spoke through time. The more a man has in himself, the less he will require from the outside world. This is freedom, not withdrawal, but return. A return to yourself. And when you truly hear yourself, you stop wanting other people to tell you who you are. Because the moment you meet your own voice, silence stops feeling empty. But still, many individuals can't tolerate silence. And there is a reason. Silence is not empty. It is full. Full of everything you've been avoiding. Full of questions you don't want to respond to. Filled with truths you are not ready to deal with. Schopenhauer once said, "The highest form of intelligence is a capacity to enjoy solitude." This is not arbitrary. It is an understanding of psychological truth. Solitude allows for more focus and gives mental space for deep reflection, strengthening the creative process. But many individuals fill every moment with noise, music, television, social media, anything to avoid being alone with their minds. What would you hear if all that noise abruptly stopped? Would you recognize the voice that comes out, or will it sound like a stranger? What are they scared of? Meeting themselves. Not the social self, the mask that they present, but the real self beneath. This self contains harsh reality, doubts about the path they are on, desires they have dismissed, concerns they will not speak about, questions about meaning they find dangerous, and acknowledgement of their own mortality. This is challenging, complicated, and very necessary for real self-knowledge. Jung understood this. The shadow is the gateway to our individuality. There is no route to the unconscious and to our own world through the shadow. You have to face what you have concealed, what you've suppressed, and what you have claimed doesn't exist. Only then can you become complete. During peaceful periods, your brain transforms into a new mode, one essential for memory consolidation, self-analysis, and future planning. This inward processing occurs only when external demands stop. In the absence of noise, your brain starts to produce from inside. Ideas emerge, not derived from others, but formed from your own synthesis. You start to hear your own voice.